Hello guys, here's an update for the Blender 2.81 add-on Fast Sculpt. I added a kind of insert brush mode and for this a mirror feature. But before we start, let me announce a course made by YanSculpts for Blender Sculpting. You can find it here on his Gumroad page, and it contains impressive tutorials for sculpting with Blender. First an introduction, then he shows how to sculpt a male face. After that a video about texturing and rendering skin, very cool. And then a narrator tutorial about sculpting a stylized character. These videos are made with Blender 2.79, but in the last one he shows how to go from this version to the latest Blender 2.8 and he sculpts a character with it. Okay, before I start my tutorial, I'll show you some previews from the course. Okay guys, the link to this course is added to the description below. I can highly recommend it. Alright, so let's jump to Blender 2.81, the experimental build to a project with this sculpted head. And as you can see in the panel of Fast Sculpt, you can define a mirror axis now. This means a mirror modifier will be attached for this axis when you add an object, and you can press a button now to enter the Add Object mode. I decided to use this scene object for insertion, and when I go to Add Object mode you can see this text telling you that you are at the moment in Add Object mode and that you can use Ctrl and left click to add objects. You can see this here, it is added to the left and the right side because we use an X mirror. All I have to do is to press Ctrl and left click to add the object to the surface of the target. It is a bit like the insert brushes that you might know from ZBrush. You can use any object in the scene that you like or predefined primitives. Now use this kind of needle object. Did you see Hellraiser? Well, perhaps it's a bit like that. I speed this up now because, yeah, it's the same for each object. Okay, looks interesting. What you can do as well is to select the created objects. And for this I go to edit mode and change the location. You can also change the rotation or scale or continue modeling the piece as you like. And if you want to combine to union the objects, you can apply the mirror modifier and then press the button Bool Union. The same I will do now for the needles that we added. I select them in the outliner and then I press Ctrl and J to join them to one object, and I name this needles. These needles are very small objects, so I recommend before you union these with the head to remesh them. So with this object selected, I choose a quite high resolution of 0.003 and press the remesh button. Okay, this was a quite high resolution, perhaps we don't need that much, so I decrease it again. And then I press bool union to union the head with the needles. Okay, this takes a while, but after that we can go ahead and continue sculpting. I choose the crease brush and add some details to the head. Alright guys, now let's see how to code such a modal operator in a Blender 2.8 add-on with Python. We start again with the addObject operator and the invoke method. Here I define a global variable that indicates if we are in the addObject mode. I also register draw handlers to be able to draw text to the screen, and the operator I add as modal handler. Here's the method to register the draw callback for 2D and also add an event timer so that the window receives events every 100 milliseconds. Okay, here's the method to unregister the handlers, which is called when the operator is finished. And here we have the draw callback 2D to draw text into the 3D view. For drawing text onto the screen, you can use the module BLF. Here I define the size, the color and the position, and then I call the method draw of the BLF module to actually draw the text. Okay, in the poll method you can define if the operator can be invoked, and I return false if it is already activated. When the method finish is called of the operator, I set the in-add mode to false and unregister the handlers. Okay, and here's the most interesting method, modal, which is called all the time. And when this method returns finished, the modal operator is closed, and this is in my case when the escape key is pressed. But when the user presses the left mouse button and holds the Ctrl key pressed, I call the method addObject with the current mouse position. I already explained what happens in this method in the previous part, but I extended it with the feature of the mirror modifier, so let me show you this new code. Okay, here we go. I get the addObject mirror scene property, which can be none, X, Y or Z, and if it is not none, I get the current location of the 3D cursor, then set it to the 0 position, and set the origin of the active object, which is the one that we added, to the position of the cursor. Then I apply the rotation and the scale of the active object before I add a mirror modifier, and the default axis that is used for the mirror modifier when you add it is 0, which is X, so I set this to false, and then I can set the axis to the one that the user defined in the panel. In the end, I reset the 3D cursor's position to the old one. Okay, that's it. In the panel I registered the property addObjectMirror, and I also added the operator so that you can press a button to enter the addObject mode. The keyboard shortcut for entering the addObject mode is Ctrl Shift and A. This is defined in the key map in the init file as before. Okay guys, I hope you like my add-on and my channel, and if you do, then please don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. Please support the development. You can do this by being my patron. This would be really nice. Thanks for this guys, thanks for watching, and I see you in the next one.